It just might go down as the biggest media malfeasance to date, the way the mainstream media handled the Steele dossier nonsense. Unable to turn a blind eye or cover up for being complicit in the conspiracy any longer, some outlets are being forced to address the issue head on in the wake of more Durham indictments and arrests. Axios describes it as a reckoning hitting news organizations and admits it's one of the most egregious journalistic errors in modern history. The media spreading lies for years. It relents it was outsized coverage of an unvetted document. Many journalists resented the former president for turning more than half of the country against the media, frequently repeating,
"Fake news,
fake news, fake news."
A phrase Hillary Clinton actually coined.
Fake news and false propaganda.
But was it the media that created the monster?
Fake news, it's fake.
Was it the media that created the contention? By pushing a thinly sourced story based on rumors and lies? As more truth comes out, the Washington Post has corrected and removed large portions of 2 articles. But will CNN or MSNBC revisit or correct their coverage around the Steele dossier? Since the Axios article, other outlets are acknowledging the malfeasance. New York Times says many of the dossier's allegations have turned out to be fictitious or at best unprovable. It goes on to make some thinly veiled excuses for the coverage, but says the distinction between what journalists assume and what we verify is often the difference between fiction and reality. However, when you don't toe the line for the approved narrative, it seems you might just end up raided by the FBI. It's looking more like the DOJ has been weaponized against dissenters. And worse yet, did the New York Times collude with the FBI to target Project Veritas? While some journalists don't approve of James O'Keefe's style, he is following the tenet of journalism to hold those in power accountable. Kudos to the journalists speaking out against the FBI raids against him and the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press for filing a motion to unseal the search warrant application. As the ACLU statement says, the precedent set in this case could have serious consequences for press freedom. And in Biden's own words,
it's simply wrong.
So you won't let your Justice Department
do that? I will
not
let that happen.
He said that in May, and yet here we are. Despite the intrusion, Project Veritas is still exposing unethical conduct. As listed in the Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics, expose unethical conduct in journalism, including within their own organizations. And that's just what one CBS insider was doing in exposing Tegna. You know what's not listed in the SPJ Code of Ethics? This unethical advice.
I challenge you to stop thinking in terms of objective journalism.
In fact, the Code of Ethics advise ethical journalism should be accurate and fair. It also says support the open and civil exchange of views, even views they find repugnant. But is the current state of journalism even concerned with serving the public anymore?
I don't really care if people trust us or not. You still got to do your job. So, I mean, that's the least of my concerns, whether they trust me or not.
Is this who you want to receive your news from? Playing PR for the current administration, check out these headlines. Bloomberg, America needs higher, longer-lasting inflation. Washington Examiner, White House thinks inflation and supply chain woes are high-class problems. CNBC, inflation's silver lining, higher salaries. Wisconsin Examiner, inflation boogeyman scares only the extremely wealthy. Are you extremely wealthy? I know I'm not, and this scares me. Pain at the pump, god-awful grocery bills, we can all feel that. And what good are higher salaries if the cost of goods has risen by a much higher percentage than your paycheck? And another fact-check fail after Bill Gates' own words were used against him.
We got vaccines to help you with your health, but they only slightly reduce the transmissions.
Reuters stepped in for damage control and claims Gates was taken out of context. It also plays the game of saying, no, Bill Gates did not say the vaccine is ineffective, but that wasn't the claim being made. The claim was that the vaccine isn't working well because it doesn't block transmission. And that is true. That's exactly what Bill Gates said. You know what is missing context, Reuters? The conflict of interest here. The fact that the founder and former CEO of Reuters was elected to Pfizer's board of directors in 2014 until his retirement just last year. Bringing you what's ignored, sensationalized, unbalanced, misleading, or just plain false. For KLIM.News, that's your media malfeasance for the week.